Hi guys, good morning from Bavaria. Nice sunny morning here, 20th of January 2021. And I just thought I'd drop a video for you about how to keep positive during these very challenging times that we're going through right now. You're probably aware of it, it's in all the media this week, but the Monday just gone was officially Blue Monday, as they call it, which is supposed to be the most depressing day of the year. And when you're fed information like that, especially with the situation that we're in at the moment with the lockdowns and regulations and everything, it really doesn't help people's situation to be told that there is actually an official most depressing day of the year. Of course, you've got the choice to buy into that and make it a depressing day, or turn the whole thing on its head and have a great day instead. So I choose the latter, and that's why I've made this video, because I thought I'd just try and drop a few hacks for you as to how I anyway have managed to keep a reasonable degree of positivity during this whole situation that we're going through at the moment. Whether you agree with the regulations and what's going on, how it's been handled by governments or not, that's probably for a different YouTube channel. But the bottom line is that as people, as citizens, we're dealt the hand that we've got, and we have to deal with it as it is. There's nothing we can do in the immediate moment as to regards how we deal with each day ongoing. So as I say, just a few little bits and bobs to try and hopefully set you on the right course if you are feeling particularly low this week. And I'm not immune to that either, you know. I'm going through the same cycles that everybody else is, getting down every now and again. Have other times when you feel super optimistic. What I try to achieve though is a situation whereby I've got a fairly even-keeled approach to things over time. And I find that the best way to do that is to introduce routines, regular routines that you do on a daily basis that help to keep some kind of consistency and positivity in your day-to-day life, despite everything that we're going through at the moment. So, for instance, I've already made videos about power walks in the mornings, and that's one of my best hacks for keeping on track, is always getting up early. I typically get up 5:30 in the morning to do an hour's power walk. Great way to start the day. Getting out, doing some exercise, getting some fresh air, and having the feeling after you finished your power walk in the morning that you've done something positive. It's a great way to start the day. If you look through my videos there, you'll see that there's a video specifically about power walks. I'll put a link to it down in the comments underneath so you can have a look at that as well. But not just power walks, there's other things that you can take care of as well to help you. For instance, after a power walk in the morning, one of the first things that I always do as a matter of routine, and it might sound very superficial and a little bit silly, but it's very effective, is to make your bed really nicely first thing in the morning. The military are very hot on this when they do training for recruits and for military men generally as well. Making your bed is seen as being almost a prerequisite to how you go about your day. Because first thing in the morning, if you make your bed really well and leave it in good condition, ready for when you come back to bed at night, you've ticked something off first thing that's positive. And if you even go on to have a really crappy day, at worst, it means that when you come to going to bed in the evening, you've got a nice fresh bed to go into your sleep, to take you nicely into sleep, so that you have a better chance of having a better day the following day. So making your bed first thing in the morning after a power walk, making it really nicely, is a really positive thing to do. Following that, I would have a really healthy breakfast. Always start the day with a healthy breakfast, whether it's a bowl of porridge or a nice healthy muesli. Again, kicking the day off in the right way. So what that means is that typically on any given day, by the time I've reached post-breakfast time, which is normally around about 7 o'clock, half 7 in the morning, got 3 things ticked off that are positive. Early morning power walk, made the bed nicely, ready in preparation for the day, and had a good breakfast. So 3 ticks on your items, positive items, before you've even got started. Other little hacks that I've got for avoiding stress and anxiety during this period, and this is something that's well documented, but I'll mention it again because it really is huge, is avoiding news as much as possible, avoiding the mainstream media. So whether that's television, excessive reading of newspapers, social media as well. Excessively looking at social media is a way of creating a real negative spiral in the way that you see the world. Let's face it, everything that we see is negative, basically, especially at the moment with the coronavirus situation, the lockdowns and everything. It's very difficult to discern any positive news whatsoever. And when you consider that a lot of the news channels as well have the news coming at you on a loop, so it's constantly being repeated all the time, that has to have a detrimental effect on the way that you see the world and what you carry with you as you go about your daily business. You often find as well that a lot of the media that you're looking at is very unbalanced. You know, there tends to be a narrative there rather than kind of like an objective exposure of information and detail, whereby you can look at the news and discern for yourself what's coming out of that, what you're getting from it. Also, you don't find that the questions that you would like to ask are being addressed during the television programs or whatever. So there's a kind of a frustration as well, that you feel that you're not getting questions answered and that you're not seeing a balanced view of things. So by cutting out the mainstream media and discerning what's rubbish on the internet as well, of course, is a good way of actually getting rid of something which is going to lead to a positive outlook overall. That doesn't mean to say that you don't, you stay clear of the news. Would thoroughly recommend doing your own research on all sorts of different topics from different sources so that you get a balanced view of things, so that you know what's going on. It's just not buying into that mainstream news feed that you get on a daily basis, which can only be negative. Another thing as well at this time, with all the challenges that we have, is who you're hanging out with. It's well documented in personal development books and in positivity books and so forth that, it's very well documented that basically when you look at somebody, they tend to be the average of the 5 people that they hang out with most often. So you look at your friends, you look around you, you see who you're hanging out with, and you're basically looking at a reflection of yourself over time. So if you hang out with negative people who are always on a downer, always miserable about life, it's never going to get better, and I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. If you're hanging around with people like that, invariably you're going to be adopting that attitude yourself. Even if you're a generally positive person, if you expose yourself to that on a consistent basis, eventually you're going to pick up that kind of an outlook. So it's very important that you choose who you're hanging out with on a regular basis. That might be quite brutal as well, because it might mean that you have to cut down on your exposure to certain people, but better to do that than just to be polite and go along with things when you know that a situation or certain people aren't serving you. It's very important to be selective on who you're hanging out with. Okay, so just a few bits and bobs there, guys, to be thinking about. None of it's rocket science, it's all obvious stuff, and we're all aware of these things, but actually employing it into your life and living your life by certain rules that you set up for yourself is a lot more difficult than actually understanding intuitively that something's correct. And again, on a previous video, I talked about goals and setting up routines and so forth. So in order to get into the habit of doing these things, you have to be structured in the way that you go about it. Also, it's very important not to take on too much at once. So for instance, the three items that I was talking about at the beginning, the power walk, making the bed, and having a healthy breakfast, it might be a little bit too much to do that all in one go starting tomorrow. So maybe just introduce one of those 3 things. So for instance, to start with, it could be just making sure in the mornings that you make your bed really nicely, and get that under your belt and do that for 1 or 2 weeks until you can say that that's become a habit, and then introduce the power walk on top. Trying to do everything at once might be a little bit too challenging for people and might mean that you get off track very, very quickly. So keep it simple to start with, and then gradually introduce these little habits so that over time you're kind of gradually building up a repertoire of things that you do just as second nature. Like when you drive down to the shops, the drive that you make down to the local supermarket in your car. You know, sometimes you arrive there and you can't even remember how you got there. It's so automatic. The engram is there in your brain. You can actually switch off while you're doing that drive. And that's how you want to sort of set up these routines in your life. You want them to become engrams, things that you just do naturally without even thinking about it. And then it's only a win-win situation. So I hope you got a little bit of something out of that, guys. Oh, one more thing as well. Just to let you know that the Plant Powered Fitness website is now up and running. plantpoweredfitnessmunich.com is up and running, and if you go and take a look at that, you'll find that there's lots of personal training. All of the stuff that I've been doing for the last several months has been free information that I've been giving out with regards to training. I've put free fitness videos, etc., up. I've monetized that now in that I'm actively recruiting clients to work with to try and improve people's lives and help people out a little bit, doing something creative rather than just consuming all the time. And if you go to my website, there's a plethora of different training options that you've got there. So check that out, and I hope you get some value out of that as well. Anyway, guys, keep that positivity going. This will all come to an end eventually. There's no doubt about that. We just have to hang on in there and make sure that we're in great shape when we come out of it, so to carry on with our lives, our businesses, and trying to contribute to society again in the way that we all want to at the moment. That's the bottom line, isn't it? We want to get out there and start contributing and making a positive contribution to life rather than being cooped up and locked up inside. We'll get there, guys. Just hang on in there. Okay, you take care now. All the best.